Well, I saw this yesterday. Ilia Topuria says the UFC has promised him a title shot, and that's why he vacated his featherweight strap. All right. Now, I don't think he would have vacated if this wasn't true. Okay. Or maybe he's just trying to put something out there to make the UFC give him a title shot. But if he's saying this and the UFC hasn't promised him a title shot, this could backfire massively. Dana White could come out and say, "Don't know what he's talking about. He's lying." He can get to the back of the queue now because you know what Dana's like with fighters that piss him off, or i.e. Arman Sarukian. He got a Ernie shot again. Ernie shot again. And Ilia thinks he can just come up and get that title shot straight away. I think if it's not Arman, who else is there? It's Ilia Topuria, and that's it. Should Ilia get the title shot over Arman Sarukian? No. Absolutely not. Arman should get that title shot first. And then when Islam beats him, then Ilia can beat Islam. And he can be the lightweight champ. But we need to make it fair, okay? And look, I know Arman Sarukian pulled out on a day's notice of a main event or of a pay-per-view. It's not like Joe Pyfer who pulled out UFC Mexico, okay, with a day's notice. It's not an important fight. It would have been that was one of the fights I was most excited for. I was very disappointed when it got cancelled, but it's not like it's the main event of a pay-per-view. Like 311 was going to be one of the most stacked pay-per-views. I mean, it still was, but still would have been stacked. Arman Sarukian went to the press conference, all right, and everything the day before the fight. And what do you know? He then pulls out with an injury the day before the pay-per-view. Ruins the event, nearly ruins it, but not quite. So Dana White, understandably pissed off at Arman Sarukian. I don't really blame him for not wanting to reward him with an instant title shot after nearly destroying the pay-per-view. Nearly. Luckily we had, like, if Marab and Umar wasn't on that card, that pay-per-view would have been ruined. That pay-per-view would have been ruined. Because the main event would have been Moicano Islam and well, to be fair, the co-main would have been Yuri and Jamal Hill. So it wouldn't have been too bad, but it wouldn't have been as good, would it? You know? So if not Arman, who else? Well, let's look at the rankings to really break this down. So we've got the lightweight rankings here. Right. So Arman's off the table. He's off the table. Okay. Dana White doesn't like him for what he did. I don't blame him. Nearly ruined the pay-per-view. He needs to have another number one contender shot. Charles Oliveira beat Michael Chandler after being sat out for 2 years. That doesn't deserve a title shot, in my opinion. Max Holloway. Oh, no, sorry. What am I on about? Justin Gaethje. He's just beat Viziev down here. Ranked number 11 after like a year and a half off, I think. Nearly 2 years off. That doesn't earn you a title shot. If anything, Holloway deserves it over Gaethje. Well, I don't know why people are thinking Gaethje should get the next title shot. Well, because he's ranked number 3 and he beat ranked number 11 on short notice. He's been sat out for nearly 2 years, maybe 2 years. But Holloway knocked Gaethje out last year, cold. Dominated him, 50-45. Then sparked him in the last second. If anyone deserves a title shot at lightweight that isn't Sarukian, it's Max Holloway. But then, Ilia knocked out Max Holloway. Ilia knocked out Max. The first person to finish Max Holloway was Ilia Topuria. So if he's moving up, I don't know. Does that put him above Max? Maybe. Poirier lost to Justin Gaethje. You know? Dan Hooker just pulled out of his fight against Justin Gaethje. If Dan Hooker beat Gaethje, maybe he could be next in line. But no. Michael Chandler just lost to Charles. So it's like all these guys. I'm down to number 7. Gamrot. He lost to Hooker. He lost to Dan Hooker. Dariush. lost to Charles. Moicano lost, we're already down to rank number 10. Moicano just lost to Islam. Fiziev just lost to Gaethje. Pimbler, if he beats Chandler, might be in, could get a top 5 matchup, but we're not talking title shot. All right, we're not talking title shot. And people go, well, why not? Why not Gamrot? It's like his last fight was Dan Hooker, and he lost. So it's not going to be him. It's not Arman. Charles doesn't deserve it after a win over Chandler. Gaethje doesn't deserve it over a win over Fiziev. Max Holloway has the best argument currently outside of Arman Sarukian to get a title shot, in my opinion. But if it's not him, if it's not Max Holloway, it's this guy. All right? The guy that knocked Max Holloway out, the guy that knocked Volk out, who, by the way, had a really close first fight with Islam Makhachev. A really close first fight. Almost won that fight. I mean, Islam won, but clearly, but it was very, very close. All right? Very close. So when you look at these rankings, I'm down to number 12 right now, and none of them really outside of Holloway. And obviously Sarukian, but Dana doesn't want to give him... We can ignore Sarukian because Dana White doesn't want to give him a title shot. Ignoring Sarukian from 2 to 10? No. Apart from Max Holloway, maybe. Because he knocked out Justin Gaethje a year ago. And it was bloody beautiful. But if not Holloway, who, again, I don't even think Max Holloway deserves it. I'm just saying he deserves it more than anyone else apart from Sarukian. I think Holloway needs to fight Charles. And if he beats Charles, then give him a title shot, sure. Or Holloway versus Sarukian. Winner gets a title shot. But if not, I'm sorry, guys, but it's Topuria. It has to be Topuria. And not only that, it's a super mega fight. Why would you not want to see this shit, man? Like, you cannot be an MMA fan if you don't want to see this fight. It'd be unbelievable. It'd be an absolute barn burner. It'd sell so many tickets. People might even buy a pay-per-view for once. This is the fight to make, in my opinion. If it's not Arman Sarukian, if it's not Max Holloway, it's Ilia Topuria. Or La Leyenda? I'm calling him El Matador still because the legend's a shit nickname. El Matador, Ilia Topuria. He's the one to fucking fight for the belt, in my opinion. Oh, I think it should happen. I really think Arman should happen, but I can understand why Dana White doesn't want to because he fucked up the whole event. So, you know what? Go cry about it, Arman Sarukian. Go with it, we cry. Let me know what you guys think about this. Like, subscribe. Links down below. Till next time, I'll see you in a bit.